All right. Raise your hands if you look forward to a Monday morning. How many of you here want to spend the rest of your life doing what you love? And how many of you love listening to a talk right after lunch? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a whole new world of possibilities and exploration. My journey started in the year 2009, when I heard my name being called up on stage. So the award for the best engineering student, VTU, goes to. I went up on stage, I received the award, and that's when I had to make the toughest decision of my life. To choose between what I was good at and what I wanted to do. And I chose the latter. For some uncanny reason, my family and friends couldn't understand why I left a comfortable, well-paying, respectable job. So this is how my life looked like in the next 1 year. Every time I would bump into an aunt or a friend, they would ask me, "Oh, so which company are you working for? Microsoft, Wipro, which company?" And I would tell them, "So auntie, basically I'm just kind of exploring myself," for which she gave me the look. Look was, "Oh, kelsa siklilva," which means you didn't get a job. To add fuel to fire, she followed it with a question. "So, how old are you?" And I would say I'm 21 and quickly say, "But you know, auntie, in most European countries, they take their career seriously only after 28. Till then, they're just kind of figuring out what they want to do." To which she said, "Oh, by 28, you should get married and your children should figure out what they want to do. This is India." Having said all of this, I still continued to figure out what I wanted to do and put in my energy to what I really, really, really wanted to do. So what is it that I wanted to do? Let me give you an example. When you meet, let's say, a 10th grader or a 12th grader, what is the question that you would generally ask them? What do you want to be when you grow up? And typical answers would be, I want to be a police officer, an engineer, a doctor, a fashion designer, etc. Right? I realized that I was asking myself the wrong question. Instead of asking, what do I want to be when I grow up, I asked myself, what do I want to do when I grow up? And that's when the opportunities really opened up for me. And I formulated my own life list. Let me give you a quick glimpse of what my life list looked like back in 2009. One, I wanted to contribute to India's progress, which I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of. I want right now this remote to work, but it doesn't seem to be working. All right, so I'll just tell you anyways. I wanted to write a book. I wrote my first book accidentally in 2012, and my second book's going to be out by HarperCollins in a couple of months. I wanted to travel a lot. Unfortunately, I travel a lot more than a lot. Lesson learned, be really careful what you ask for. Right? A couple more things that I wanted to do was teach a lot of kids across India, and in my 7 years of experience of traveling to different parts of India, I think I have pretty much interacted with close to 1 lakh children across India, most of which is rural India. Can you go to the next one? The next one? And inspire people to do a good work, right? So, in the first 3 years after my engineering, I traveled a lot and I started interacting with a lot of youngsters. I remember this one interaction that I had, which was in a college in Bangalore, one of the elite engineering colleges in Bangalore. During the conversation that I was having with them, I just enthusiastically asked them, "So how many of you really want to be engineers?" For some reason, their response did not match my enthusiasm. Because out of 108 students, 6 hands went up. I was flabbergasted. And I asked them, "So what in the world are the rest of you doing here?" To which one boy sitting in the first bench candidly responded saying, "Ma'am, this is India. You can be doctor, engineer, lawyer, accountant. That's all. What else do we do?" I know it's funny, but it's also pretty true. Because that remark changed my life. It's not that in India we don't have other options. It's just that people don't know what else to do. And I decided that day that I wanted to spend the rest of my life helping every child in India make an educated career choice. According to the Forbes, 81% of the people in the world hate their jobs. 81% of the people in the world hate their jobs. That's a big number. It's an unforgiving number. What does that mean? Right now in India, we have 47.3% of India's population below age 21, which means in the next 10-15 years, 60 crore people will end up in the wrong job. 60 crore people will end up in the wrong job. Now you might ask me, so what? We have the weekend to make up for, right? So let me paint this picture for you, all right? Imagine you walk into a salon and the hairstylist who does not like his or her job gives you a hairstyle like this, right? Engineers who never wanted to be engineers in the first place would build bridges like this. Doctors who never wanted to be doctors would probably treat patients like this, or even worse. And finally, we have tailors who'll stitch clothes that actually fit us. So what is it that led to doomsday? Why are we heading towards doomsday? For this, let me give you a quick example and a quick insight of what really happened. This is Ramesh. He's a typical blue-collar worker. He's a typical blue-collar worker, so he would primarily use his hands to get a job done, and he would exchange time for money. His basic goal in life was roti, kapda, or makan, food, clothing, and shelter. Let me draw a parallel to a blue-collar worker. A parallel to a blue-collar worker would be Suresh. Suresh is a typical white-collar worker. He generally uses his knowledge to get a particular task done, and he would exchange his educational qualification for money. What is his aspiration in life? Degrees, and some certifications, online or offline. The result of which, in India today, we have 29 states, but we have 740 universities. And today, in India, we have 1.7 million schools and counting. There is one repercussion of a Cold War between blue-collar workers and white-collar workers. And all of this started because in the mid-1900s, there was a saying that went around like this. People who work sitting down get paid more than people who work standing up. Which is why the words like menial, petty, frivolous got attached to a blue-collar worker. Which is pretty ironical because the whole concept of dignity of labor originated in India. And we are the people who look down upon a driver or a maid or any blue-collar worker. And what's interesting is the fact that dignity of labor is not proportional to the salary that one person takes back home every day. One of the repercussions of the Cold War between blue-collar workers and white-collar workers is like this. Let me narrate this in the form of a story. Right? This is Eli Raja. He's 23 years old. I met him a year ago in one of the restaurants in Mahabalipuram. It was a restaurant by the beach. It was basically a shack. While my friend and I were having lunch, we realized that Eli Raja, who was serving us food, seemed very irritated and messy. My friend was being polite, so he just asked him, why are you so irritated? To which he listlessly said something in Tamil, which meant, anyway, this is not what I've studied. So we got curious. And we asked him, so what have you studied? And Eli Raja took a deep breath, pumped up his chest and said, engineering. Now let me give you a quick glance about Eli Raja's story. 5 years ago, the elders in his village donned on the hat of being freelance advisors. And they advised him to take up a lucrative career in engineering because it's a white-collar job and it pays really well. Eli Raja, with little or no research, jumped into the engineering career. He finished his engineering degree. He did put up that certificate on the wall, but he did not get a job. 6 months after his graduation, he realized it is do or die. So Eli Raja hatched a beautiful plan. Every morning, he would wear formals and get out of his house, lying at home that he had a software job. He would come to this restaurant and act as a cleaner. The result, he earned 10,000 rupees, including tips, every month. In India today, we have 10 lakh such Ilaiyarajas. Now, little did Ilaiyaraja and his friends know that my friends back here in Bangalore were working for multinational companies earning 9,000 rupees per month. The border line between blue-collar workers and white-collar workers is being blurred today, because blue-collar workers seemed more skilled than white-collar workers, and white-collar workers are getting paid almost as much as blue-collar workers. So what does the future look like? Is it going to be a war between blue-collar workers and white-collar workers? Definitely not. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of the world is a new generation and a workforce of people who are driven by excellence, who are driven by innovation. And let me introduce you to them. These are who we call as the yellow-collar workers. Let me give you some quick examples. A musician, a stand-up comedian, a mentalist, a coach, an image consultant, a sports person. These are just few examples of yellow-collar workers. In Daniel Pinkman's book, The Whole New World, he talks about the fact that the future of the world is going to be dominated by the right-brained people. You heard me right, the right-brained. While for centuries, we've been only honing the left brain because of our educational institutions. The future of the world is going to be dominated by the right-brained people, because everything that the left brain can do, logical or analytical intelligence, can be done by machines. So what are the qualities of right-brained people? If you're empathetic, if you're socially sensitive, if you love to create new things, if you strive on challenges, if you look for constant meaning, purpose, and joy in whatever you do, you're definitely a right-dominant person. This got me thinking, because the future of yellow-collar workers are people who don't just work for money. They work for a lot more important things like purpose and meaning in life, because they understand that money is a result of what you do and not the root of what you do. So I reached out to a few people who are successful people in the space of yellow-collar workers. These are people I've had the opportunity of interacting with, interviewing, working with them for over 3 years. And after this, I realized that all of them had one common message to share. They shared with me the pyramid of success. How many of you believe it's important to do what you love to be successful? Yes and no. Right? I'm so tired of people saying, do what you love, do what you love, do what you love. It's important. But that's just one part of the pyramid, right? The first part of the pyramid is do what you love. The second part of the pyramid is to be really, really good at what you do. And what completes the pyramid is the fact that you be connected to the right people. Let me quickly share with you a few characteristics of yellow-collar workers. Number one, while blue-collar workers would exchange their time for money, and white-collar workers would exchange their educational qualification for money, yellow-collar workers exchange their competence for money. Which is why the future will see a lot more millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires than centuries have ever seen. That's quality number one. Quality number two. Has anyone ever told you you're a jack of all trades, master of none, and you got offended by it? Well, it's time not to be offended by that statement, because it's actually a compliment. One of the qualities of yellow-collar workers is that they're jack of all trades and master of one. I was having an interesting discussion this afternoon where we were discussing that the future is all about not having one job, but doing many things. And that's how we explore ourselves, right? And the final fundamental quality that defines a yellow-collar worker is personal accountability. Very early on in life, yellow-collar workers realize that they cannot afford to be mediocre even for one day. Allow me to give you a few examples of kids that I worked with in this space. Let me introduce you to Jana. He's 18 years old. He started playing professional football when he was 15 years. He's homeschooled. And right now, every day, on an average, he spends 9 hours towards football. The next example, Anjana Padmanabhan, she's right now 13 years old. She won Indian Idol Junior when she was 10 years old. And every day after regular schooling, she spends 3 hours of practice on music. And finally, we have Simon, who is 11 years old, and he realized he wanted to be a filmmaker when he was 10 years old. And for a 10-year-old to be spending 1 hour every day on filmmaking after school is not a joke. It's not rare anymore when we read that a doctor became a chef, an accountant became a stand-up comedian. It's not rare anymore. The world has figured out to give us clues in different ways that we are heading towards a whole new world of possibilities, whether you like it or not. I'm not here to ask you to do what you love. I'm here to tell you that you have to do what you love in order to be successful. Else, be ready to have the toughest discussion in your life on your deathbed, when the person you wanted to be will meet the person you actually turned out to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we anyway have to think. Why not think big? We anyway have to work. Why not do what we love? Thank you so much.